Alright, imagine waking up gagged in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by strangers, and then realizing you're being hunted for sport. Yeah, that's the movie we're talking about today. What's up everyone, welcome back to Movie Recaps Hub Podcast. Today I'm breaking down a wild action thriller called The Hunt. Full spoiler warning from this point on. So if you haven't seen it yet, this is your chance to click away. Alright, let's get into it. The movie opens with a rich woman named Athena joking around with her elite friends in a private group chat. She casually mentions that soon they'll be able to blow off some steam by hunting deplorable people at a manor. Her friends immediately tell her to stop talking like that over text, warning her that messages like this could leak and get them into serious trouble. Cut to a private jet where Athena and her wealthy friends are flying together. One of them, Richard, chats with a flight attendant and brags about eating caviar. She pours him champagne, and everything feels luxurious and calm, until a large man suddenly stumbles into the cabin. He's clearly drugged, confused, and has no idea where he is or how he got there. An old man claims he's a doctor and asks the big guy to lie down so he can help. The man agrees, but in a shocking twist, the so-called doctor stabs him in the throat with a pen. Even while bleeding badly, the big guy fights back, smashing a champagne bottle and trying to attack the others. That's when Athena calmly approaches him from behind and drives her heel straight into his eye. The man screams in agony. He's dragged into another room, where he begs for help one last time before dying. In that same room, we see another woman lying unconscious. She's only identified as Yoga Pants. The next morning, Yoga Pants wakes up in the middle of a wide open field with a metal gag locked into her mouth. She sees another gagged woman in the distance named Crystal and calls out to her. But Crystal ignores her and walks away. Yoga Pants soon realizes they aren't alone. Several people are scattered around the field, all gagged and confused. In the center sits a huge wooden box. One man approaches it and opens it, and suddenly a small pig wearing a shirt jumps out, startling everyone. Moments later, the man climbs into the box and pulls out a full set of weapons. Panic erupts as everyone rushes to grab something to defend themselves. Yoga Pants finds another piece of wood with keys attached, and the group uses them to unlock the gags from their mouths. Then everything goes wrong. Gunfire erupts from a distance, and people start dropping instantly. Chaos breaks out. Yoga Pants hides behind the wooden box with another man, but her head is suddenly blown off. The man runs in terror and discovers a woman impaled on a spike in a pit. She begs for help and says tomorrow is her birthday. He helps her out, but they barely make it a few steps before he steps on a landmine and explodes into pieces. From there, people are killed in horrific ways, blown apart by grenades, pierced by arrows, and trapped in brutal setups. Only a handful of people are left alive, and the danger is far from over. 3 survivors eventually reach a gas station run by an old couple. They point a gun at them and demand to know where they are. The terrified couple says they're in Arkansas. One survivor grabs a phone and calls 911, explaining the entire situation. Strangely, the operator stays very calm and says help is on the way. While waiting, a woman starts eating marshmallows from the store, only to suddenly collapse and die. The marshmallows were poisoned. That's when the truth comes out. The old couple pulls out weapons and begins killing the remaining survivors. They're part of the elite group running the hunt. After killing everyone, they start dumping bodies in a back room and cleaning up. The old woman briefly feels guilty about killing a man wearing a wedding ring, but her husband dismisses it, claiming the victims were monsters anyway. Soon, they receive a message over the radio saying another target is coming. Her codename is Snowball, and she's unarmed. That target is Crystal. Crystal walks into the gas station calm, collected, and observant. She asks for cigarettes, pays, and doesn't react to anything suspicious at first. But then she notices blood on the money and asks where they are. The couple replies Arkansas. That's when Crystal snaps. She slams the old woman into a table, punches the old man, grabs his shotgun, and kills them both. Outside, she notices a car with a fake Arkansas license plate and finds a bomb underneath it. Crystal listens to the radio and hears elites panicking because the gas station isn't responding. A drone is sent to investigate. Crystal hides, but someone shoots the drone, alerting the hunters that a survivor is listening in. Another survivor named Gary shows up and points a gun at Crystal. She convinces him she's also a victim and explains that shooting the drone was a huge mistake. Together, they search for a way out and reach train tracks just as a train approaches. They run and jump onto it. On the train, they encounter a group of refugees. Gary, paranoid and traumatized, believes they're actors placed by the elites. When foreign soldiers arrive and unload the refugees, Gary tries to explain everything, but they don't understand him. The refugee leader suddenly calls Gary by name and reveals himself as one of the elites. He explains that while he's acting, the refugees and soldiers are real. Furious, Gary attacks him. During the fight, a grenade falls. Gary grabs it, stuffs it into the man's pants, and runs. The elite explodes violently. Gary escapes, but Crystal is captured by the soldiers and taken to a refugee camp. At the camp, Crystal meets a commander who speaks English and learns she's in Croatia. She also meets another survivor named Dawn, who was kidnapped the same way. A man claiming to be from the US Embassy arrives and offers to take them back to the United States. During the drive, the man questions why they were kidnapped, suggesting they must have done something wrong in their lives. Dawn insists he's innocent. Suddenly, Crystal kicks the man out of the car and runs him over, killing him. Dawn is horrified, but Crystal opens the trunk and reveals Gary's dead body. The so-called ambassador was part of the elite group. They also find a map showing the elite's hideout. Determined to end it, they head there. On the way, they come across the pig from earlier and decide to take it with them. At the hideout, the elites are gathered in a bunker, debating politics, climate change, curing diseases, and presenting themselves as people trying to make the world better. They're protected by a trained veteran named Sergeant Dale. Richard steps outside to relieve himself and is killed when Crystal sneaks up and slashes his throat. Inside, the elites hear movement and start shooting, only to realize they killed the pig. Moments later, Crystal storms in and wipes them out one by one. Dawn arrives and sees that Crystal has killed everyone. Athena speaks over the radio and asks Dawn if Crystal is dead. Crystal realizes Dawn is also part of the group and shoots him without hesitation. Crystal confronts Sergeant Dale, revealing she once served in the military in Afghanistan. After torturing him, he finally gives up Athena's location. Crystal kills him and moves on. Crystal arrives at Athena's house. Athena makes her leave her gun in the mailbox before letting her inside. Face to face, Athena explains that her life was ruined by an online joke and claims Crystal helped spread hateful misinformation. She lists details about Crystal's past, but Crystal reveals it's all mistaken identity. Another woman in her hometown shares her name. Her parents' stories are completely wrong. Athena refuses to believe her, and the two engage in a brutal fight. Athena proves to be highly skilled and stabs Crystal with a blender blade. But Crystal refuses to give up. She embraces Athena and stabs her repeatedly with the same blade. As Athena lies dying, she explains that Crystal's codename, Snowball, comes from Animal Farm. Crystal argues that Snowball was an idealist who was falsely blamed, saying the name suits Athena better. Athena dies. Crystal survives. In the final moments, Crystal treats her wounds, puts on a dress from Athena's wardrobe, and leaves with Athena's dog. She boards the private jet and tells the pilots that their bosses are dead and to take her home. The movie ends with Crystal sitting calmly with the same flight attendant from the beginning, sharing caviar and champagne as the jet flies away. And that's The Hunt. If you enjoyed this full breakdown, make sure to hit the like button, drop a comment with your thoughts on the movie, and subscribe to Movie Recaps Hub podcast for more story-driven recaps like this. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.